Ever wonder what a farmer actually posts on social media every week? Today, I'm pulling back the curtain and sharing the exact posts I put on Facebook and Instagram this past July. You'll hear some of the real captions I wrote, why I structured them that way, and how I use a rinse and repeat system to keep my posting consistent during the farm season. By the end, you'll see that showing up online doesn't have to feel random or overwhelming. It can actually be simple and strategic. Let's get started. Hey there, this is Corinna Bench, and welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast. In today's market, it's not enough to just grow your product. You've got to know how to sell it too. Welcome to the My Digital Farmer podcast, where we reveal online marketing strategies and tips to help farmers like you get better and more confident at marketing. Learn how to find more customers, increase your sales, and build a strong brand for your farm. Let's start the show. Well, welcome to episode 329 of the My Digital Farmer podcast. I'm your host, Corinna Bench, one of the farmers at Shared Legacy Farms out in Elmore, Ohio. I'm also the founder of mydigitalfarmer.com, which is all about trying to help other farmers get confident in their marketing and sales strategies so that you can grow a profitable business. How's everyone doing today? Welcome back to the show. Big shout out to all of my regular listeners. If you're new to the podcast, I'm glad you're here today. Thanks for coming. Make sure you subscribe to the show and go check out my first 10 episodes because I designed them to be an onboarding ramp into the marketing lingo. Otherwise, just kind of look through the back archives. There's over 300 episodes now, and there's got to be something there that catches your eye. Trust me, you'll get pulled in and you'll start binging a lot all in one day. I love it. So another way you can learn the ropes of farm marketing if you're new is to just get onto my email list. Because when you do, I'm going to send you an email like every 4 or 5 days for 3 months. I'm going to give you the best of the best stuff, kind of like a roadmap through the different things you need to know. I'm going to share with you the stuff you need to know first, and everything builds on those early emails. So you can go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe to do that. Today's podcast is sponsored by my friends at Local Line. If managing orders, customers, and inventory feels chaotic this season, it might be time for a better system. Local Line is the all-in-one sales platform built for farms and food hubs. Whether you're selling direct to consumer or managing wholesale buyers or running a CSA. With tools like e-commerce, automated inventory management, subscriptions, barcode scanning, box builder, and POS, Local Line helps you simplify operations and grow your sales. In fact, farmers using Local Line increase their annual sales by 23% and boost their average order size by 9.5%. Switching is easy. No setup fees, no sales commissions, and your onboarding manager will migrate your storefront for free, no joke, so that you can get started without missing a beat. As a podcast listener, you'll also get one premium feature for free for a full year when you use my code MDF2025 at checkout. So head to mydigitalfarmer.com/local line, use that coupon code, and you'll be on your way. Start selling smarter this season with Local Line. And now back to the show. All right, welcome back. Let's spend a few minutes catching up, letting you know what's going on in my life right now. There's a lot of shifting happening for me. First of all, my youngest son started high school 3 days ago. He had his 3 days of orientation for new students at Toledo Technology Academy, which is a magnet school in Toledo. And I'm not so sure how he feels about it. I think he's still nervous about trying to find friends. And so I'm being a mom right now, trying to encourage him and keep him positive and teach him the skill of waiting and being wise about who he chooses to befriend. So that's exciting, though, because I have a lot of confirmation from many different places that this is where he should be, and I'm really trusting that that's going to work out. Jed met with a recruiter a couple of days ago as well for the 180th fighter wing. So it looks like he is on track now to formally enlist. We have to meet with them next week and start the process of having him go somewhere to get a physical and take some kind of aptitude test. And then we move forward with that. So that was really fun. I feel really good about that. It's totally the right way for him to go. So all of my farmer friends out there who are into aviation, I know I have a few of you. Hope you're celebrating that moment with us, because he really wants to be a crew chief on fighter jets. That's like his goal. And so he's hoping that he can eventually work full time for the Guard. And then for me, I just took a big step and booked a personal development retreat with my coach in the Smoky Mountains over Labor Day weekend. And I wanted to do this so bad, but I kept putting it off and thinking there's no way that I could get away from my family for 3 days, fly to Tennessee and spend 3 days on one of our busiest weekends of the year. And I'm choosing to challenge that belief, and I'm going, and I'm getting everything ready so that I can be gone and the place still functions without me. And I'm really proud of myself for making that decision, and I am excited to see what happens at the retreat and what I can learn about myself. I also just want to reward myself and I guess be present. So I'll let you know how it goes. But just throwing this out here is hopefully an inspiration to all of you that, things are possible. We just have to sometimes push against the beliefs we have in our mind and just take action anyway, and then see what happens. That's a little bit of what's going on here. And I'm doing the work required before I leave to make sure that I feel okay about it. But I think the real work was in the 3 weeks before I made the decision, choosing to believe that I could actually do this and challenging myself. So here we go. I've got 5 days to get everything ready. And by the time you hear this, I will have already come back, but I'm excited. Okay, today I am going to talk to you about social media again. I feel like I bring this up every couple months, but I have been wanting to show you an example of how I actually put my social media calendar together. And I wanted to do it in a very specific way by literally sharing with you my social media posts for the month of July. Now, I'm not going to read all of them here on the show, but I am going to read about 7 or 8 of them. And in the process, I'm also going to point out to you some of the themes and the structure and the why behind the strategy of these posts. And my goal for doing this episode was to, maybe open your eyes again and show you, hey, these are the kinds of things that you could be talking about. These are the kinds of things that maybe should, and I use that in air quotes, be in your rotation. And so when you hear them and you hear how I word them, you can kind of see an example and go, oh, that's what she means. So that it might be a little bit easier for you to write something like this as well, or to solicit the help of AI like ChatGPT and give it a little bit of coaching once you know kind of what you're looking for. Now, I have found that I really need to plan ahead if I want to actually accomplish doing social media for my farm business, because the chaos of farm life makes posting on the fly almost impossible. Now, I do still post on the fly, maybe every 3 or 4 days when there's something really exciting and it's convenient for me to just quick snap a bunch of pictures. But I really like having most of the important stuff pre-planned and posted, or scheduled, I should say. And then that gives me the freedom to kind of post on the fly if I have the time. But without a system, I think a lot of farmers end up ghosting social media in the summer months. Are you raising your hand right now? And that's the exact time when your customers are actually looking for content and when they would respond to it. So planning ahead means that you're never staring at a blank screen because you have these categories of content that you lean into that give you kind of these built-in prompts and makes it pretty easy to to throw something together, even if it's, just for 30 minutes every week. So I'm going to share with you some of the social media posts from last July to show you what I talked about. And if you want access to my actual swipe file for the months of June, July, and August, like the actual copy that I've used, those are inside of my social media planning project in Farm Marketing School. In that project, I teach you the system for how to build this planning system for social media, especially using AI, and how to create kind of a template, how to do the writing pretty quickly. The work is actually building that template. And then once you've got that template done, I think it's a whole lot faster. I spend about 30 to 45 minutes a week in Meta posting or scheduling, I should say, everything for that week. But you could literally copy and paste some of that swipe file as a template, especially if you're going to use ChatGPT. You can say, hey, I really like this style of a template, and I want you to use this to help me develop my own style for my farm. And ChatGPT can kind of use that as a starting point. So just know that that is a resource that's available. If you get into Farm Marketing School and you go find the social media planning project, it's right in there as a, I think it's a Word doc. No, it's a Google Doc. All right. And you can learn more about that at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS. Okay. So here are the actual July posts that I want to read on the air today. The first one is a UGC post. UGC stands for User Generated Content. And this is a picture of one of my customers, my CSA customers, roasted tomatoes. It was a gorgeous picture of cherry tomatoes with some thyme on the roasting sheet. It looked like something that should be, frankly, on Cooking Light magazine or something. And this is what I wrote. I said, CSA member Beth Flager roasted her tomatoes this week and shared this pic with us. If you've never roasted tomatoes, here's how. Slice them in half, drizzle with olive oil, sprinkle with salt, and bake at 400 for about 40 minutes. They come out caramelized and sweet, perfect for tossing into pasta, blending into soup, or freezing for the winter. Here's how you can shop in our online store. Go to www.sharedlegacyfarms.com/store. Step 2, order what you want. Step 3, pick up at your pickup site this week. Okay, so this particular post works really well because it provides social proof, and it also teaches a potential client how to use my product. Beth showed what she did, which made it very real. It made it relatable. And then all I had to do was add a quick teaching nugget, teaching value, kind of like the how-to instructions. And then I added a soft pitch at the end. I almost always do that, where I'll either take them right to the online store if it happens to be open that day, or I'll ask them to subscribe to the availability list if I'm going to be posting it in the window where I know they can't actually order. So I did this very same thing again the next week, where I used a picture of Hazel, who's actually one of the daughters of my CSA member. She is a really good baker. She had made a brownie recipe with some zucchini. And the picture was one her mom had taken and posted in our private Facebook group of Hazel just standing there smiling, holding this pan of brownies. And then Tara kind of bragged about her and explained the recipe. So I swiped that and I wrote this post. Another genius idea for your summer squash and zucchini, ... chocolate zucchini brownies. CSA member Hazel whipped up this plate of fudgy-rich, almost guilt-free goodness, and yes, they taste just as amazing as they look. Moist, chocolatey, and secretly packed with veggies, so you can totally have one for breakfast, right? Swipe to see the recipe, then grab some zucchini from your CSA box or our online store this week and get baking. And then I include the link for the online store. That's another example of, again, taking content that was shared by one of my members in my private group, often a recipe or a picture of something they made, and I just repurpose it and I share what they say. I sometimes copy and paste their caption and then use it to kind of turn into my own voice and turn it into a teaching moment, and then add some kind of a link to the store or my availability list. Okay, here is another post from July. This one was just an engagement post. I had a picture of green tomatoes. And so I put the picture up and I said, green tomatoes, what would you make with these? Fried green tomatoes, pickled, salsa verde. Sometimes our members surprise me with the most creative ideas. What's your favorite? And I love doing these maybe once every 2 weeks or so, especially if it's a new product that's kind of coming into the rotation in our fields. And notice that I didn't lecture, I asked a question. And what this does is it pulls a lot of comments, and the algorithm likes comments. So anytime you can do that, that's a bonus. It creates engagement. It teaches customers too, along the way, that green tomatoes aren't just unripe. They're actually something that you can eat. It's like a food adventure suddenly. Oh, I don't just sit those aside or not pick them. I can actually pick them and make something cool with them. Okay, my third post that I wanted to share with you from July, this is an actual post, was my CSA explainer post. And this is where I say PS. So I had a picture of our CSA box. And I wrote, PS, I've got just 2 more spots left in my next 4-week CSA sampler, starting the week of August 26th. This is your chance to test drive CSA and see what it's like. CSA means you get a weekly share of vegetables fresh from the fields, plus membership perks like recipe guides and access to our private Facebook group of members. Grab one of the last 2 sampler shares here, and then I share the link. Okay, so this is kind of a hybrid post, meaning that it has, in my opinion, kind of 2 different categories it's hitting at once. It answers what CSA is. So a lot of my posts will be answers to frequently asked questions, and they just rotate throughout the month. And this is a common question, what is a CSA? So I'll often have a post that just defines it, and it stands for community supported agriculture, how it kind of works. This is a more brief version of that. But I also add urgency to this post and kind of like pitch it, right? It's a promotional post because I give the number of spots that are left. So I often have in the rotation a post that describes my signature offer. I want to make sure that people who are on social media scrolling around and meeting me for the first time know what it is that I sell, what is the thing that I want them to start with or graduate to, and the CSA membership box and the CSA sampler specifically is our starting point. Today's podcast is sponsored by Farm Marketing School. All right, farmer, let me ask you something. Is marketing your farm something you actually enjoy? Or does it feel like a constant struggle? If you are like most farmers that I talk to, you are wearing all the hats and marketing always seems to slip through the cracks. Can I get an amen? That's exactly why I created Farm Marketing School. It's an online membership designed to help farmers like you build a simple, repeatable marketing system that actually works. Inside, you'll get bite-sized, step-by-step projects that make marketing easier. Each month, you pick what to work on, like writing better sales emails or improving your website copy or setting up your online store, and I walk you through exactly how you should be doing it. And you're not doing this alone. Every month, we have a live Zoom meetup where you can ask me questions, meet other members of Farm Marketing School, get coaching, and hear what's working for other farmers. It's like having a farm marketing mentor in your back pocket. This isn't some long, overwhelming course. The projects are designed to be completed in under 30 days, so you're making steady progress without it taking over your life. So if you're ready to stop winging it and finally build a marketing system that brings in steady sales, come join Farm Marketing School today. Sign up for your first month and see what a difference it makes. Go to mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS to get started. And now back to the show. All right, let's move on to another post that I had in July. This is a behind the scenes post. The picture that I used was Kurt cultivating at sunset. It is a gorgeous picture, like just gorgeous. And I actually also turned it into an FAQ post. So this is an example of another hybrid. Here's the caption. Here's a picture of Farmer Kurt cultivating the collards by sunset, aka weeding with a mechanical weeder. This is just one of the ways we manage weeds organically on the farm. We often get asked, are you certified organic? The answer is yes. Shared Legacy Farms is proud to be certified organic by both the USDA and the Real Organic Project. That means no synthetic fertilizers or pesticides, no GMOs, practices that protect soil health, biodiversity, and our environment. When you buy from us, you can trust that your food is grown with integrity from seed to harvest. Get on our produce availability list here. I give the link. Then order our organic produce each weekend online and pick it up at one of our 3 pickup sites around Metro Toledo. Okay, that actually had 3 different things going on, 3 categories in one. So I had a behind the scenes picture of Kurt actually weeding so they could see, hey, here's something going on right now on the farm. I also answered a common question of, are you organic? And all the people that already know that, it's another reason for them to read that again and say, yes, I'm a part of a farm that's organic and I love it. And the third thing it does is it pitches my availability list. So it's functioning as a lead magnet. All right. So just kind of wanted to show you an example of how you could take multiple categories, multiple goals in your social media planning project and put them into one post. Okay, let's move on to the next post I want to share. This is my gut healing blog update. So this was a picture of some meal that I had made, just a bird's eye view of a plate. And I have been sharing my gut healing story on Instagram stories with my farm customers for some time now. I started formally sharing the story on a blog about 3 weeks ago. And so I was letting them know that the next chapter was live. So here's what I wrote. 18 months ago, I never imagined I'd be on this journey of healing my gut. It's been full of ups and downs. But along the way, God has been so faithful, leaving me breadcrumbs to follow. People, influencers, books, podcasts, quiet breakthroughs, and prayer. Each step has taught me something new. In this latest chapter, I share how discovering a functional medicine approach completely changed my trajectory. It gave me hope, new tools, and the confidence that I really could heal. If you've ever felt stuck in your health struggles, I want you to know you can take control of your own healing, and my story is proof of that. Read chapter 3 here, how a functional medicine approach changed my trajectory, and then there's the link. So this is also an idea just to point people to your blog post. I don't do this a ton, but for this particular series, I'm going to be doing it almost every week. And that's because it's really personal to me. I feel kind of like I'm on a mission to share this like miraculous story of how food is ultimately what cured something that doctors could not figure out what was wrong. And I have a lot of customers that have come up to me since I started talking about it who are basically confessing that they too are having digestive issues and they're finding the story very interesting. I can tell they're curious. They can't wait to read the next chapter. So I know this is striking a chord with people, and that's why I want to make sure that I'm actively promoting it on my social media because I want to make it easy to find. And I also think it's going to attract more customers like me who see me as a guide and I can legitimately help them. So you may not have a story like that where you're just like, oh, wow, I've got an awesome blog right now, or, a story that I want to tell. And this might not be your jam, but right now for this season of my life, I know this is really good stuff. And I can't wait till the entire series is done. I'm going to probably be writing something for the next 6 months every week because I have so many ideas. And I'm just going to document it all. So personally, if you're just interested in following that story, I encourage you to go just check that out. You can go to my website, sharedlegacyfarms.com, and just click on, actually it's sharedlegacyfarms.com/blog. And then you will see the gut healing blog posts there, and you can follow the rabbit trail. All right, let's move on. Number 6. Am I on number 6? I don't know. I might have lost count. This was a picture of one of my customers' sons eating an ear of sweet corn. And this was actually the contest winning picture. We had done a photo contest of sweet corn where I just wanted my customers in my private Facebook group to share cool stuff they were doing with corn. And I picked a winner after a week. And this was the winning picture. And it turned out to be chosen because of its simplicity. And it was just an awesome picture. Like a kid biting into a near sweet corn that had all this like elote stuff on it. It was awesome. The idea that kids are eating healthy and eating, from their local farmer. It had so much potential power in the messaging. So I decided to reuse that. Brian knew I was going to use that picture of his son. And here's what I wrote. Pure summer happiness right here. One of my CSA customers snapped this photo of his son digging into an ear of corn. This is what August tastes like. Fresh picked sweet corn straight from the farm, eaten while it's still warm from the sun. One bite and you remember why local corn is worth waiting for all year. If you want to get your hands on this corn and all the other seasonal goodies we harvest each week, here's how. Number 1, subscribe to our availability list. Every Saturday at noon, we email our subscribers the fresh list of what's in our online store. Veggies, fruit, flowers, prepared foods, and more. Subscribe here, and I give the link. Number 2, shop the online store. After you get the email, click the store link, shop our products, and fill your cart with farm fresh goodness. Step 3, choose your pickup site. Select one of our 3 drive-through pickup locations. Sylvania, Tuesdays, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m., order by Monday at 6 a.m. Elmore, Tuesdays, 5:30 to 6:30 p.m., order by Monday at 6 a.m. And Perrysburg, Thursdays, 5 to 6:30 p.m., order by Wednesday at 6 a.m. I know that's tedious, but just notice that I am very specific in this post about where the pickup sites are and the times, okay? Number 4, meet us at the pickup. We'll load your order right into your trunk, easy, quick, and convenient. Bulk bags of sweet corn are now for sale too. $35 a bushel per bushel bag. That's 65 ears. And then I have the link to the online store to grab that item. Okay, so what's going on in this post? You notice this is another kind of hybrid post because, first of all, it's making people aware of how the process works. So it's an FAQ post. It's answering that question, how do I buy vegetables from you again? Like, if I wanted to get some of that corn, I wouldn't even know how to start. And it's so, so important that you have this kind of message in your rotation every week, my friends, because there are always new people coming in, and that's what's keeping them from buying for the first time because they're just not sure. And they don't want to take the time to go figure it out on your website. So just spell it out for them. I've also given them a great gateway product. Corn is a really popular product in our brand, and it's often the first thing that people buy along with our carrots. Our lettuce is pretty popular too. And I know that. So these are things that I feature a lot. Plus there's social proof going on here because it's an actual kid eating this product, looking like he's loving it. And what mom or dad isn't going to see that picture and say, oh, that would be so awesome if my kid did that too. Or they imagine themselves biting into that ear of corn. And it's also a promotional post because I have the link right there to the product if they wanted to go purchase it right now. Okay? So those were the posts that I wanted to share with you. I picked those out. I have 30 of them for the month because I do post one per day on my Facebook business page and on my Instagram page. But I chose those. They aren't necessarily in order. But I chose those because they're kind of a smattering of the typical kinds of things you might see in a given week. And I follow this template week after week after week. So let me just talk about the patterns that I use. I'm going to pull back the curtain a little bit and just show you that there are categories of posts. If you were to take the time to go and look at my Shared Legacy Farms Facebook page, and scroll back through the last 30 days, you would see themes. And in some cases, you would see almost identical captions because I do copy and paste them and adjust them slightly. But a lot of times I'm just recirculating the same kinds of categories of posts. And I'm just switching out the pictures. So here are some of the categories. Number 1 are FAQ posts. I shared several of those with you because they are answering the objections your customers have that are keeping them from moving forward and buying. So for me, explaining the CSA in a nutshell was one of them. How do you actually buy in our online store? Are you organic? Those are very common ones that show up again and again. Veggie spotlights is a category. The green tomato was kind of functioning in that capacity, but I sometimes will have just a flat out post where I have a picture of a product like eggplant maybe is the featured veggie of the week, and I just talk about it, and I'm talking about how to store it, what you could make with it. I might even include some pictures of meals made by my customers with that product to just show them and tease them a little bit. So that is another category that often shows up, maybe not every week, but definitely every 2 weeks. Behind the scenes posts, these posts tell your brand story. They kind of bring that transparency piece and make you feel relatable. I tend to, though that's kind of my default setting, if I can't figure out something to post, that's what I do. I'll just go into my camera roll and look something up. But I usually save the behind the scenes posts for my live in the moment organic posts, right? That's not always the scheduled stuff because I know that I'll find things in the moment to show behind the scenes later. And I want to have the freedom to do that in the moment. The other stuff is the stuff that I'm worried about forgetting to do. The promotional post, the FAQ post, the getting people on my email list post. That's stuff that I make sure that I schedule ahead of time and then I can easily copy and paste from week to week. Okay, user-generated content posts, these do get scheduled almost always. They're basically like free testimonials because your members' excitement becomes contagious. People can see, oh, there's a picture of the customer actually eating the product. They look like they love it. Or oftentimes it's a picture of something they made and it just looks amazing. And it helps a person imagine that they could be that kind of foodie or that kind of eater, someone who's cooking like that for their family. They do a little bit of, like future story casting for themselves. And those are easy for me because I have so many photos that I have saved over the years. I have a big folder in my Google Photos of UGC, user-generated content, as well. And I have a private Facebook group with loads of photos. So it's easy for me to find a picture of pretty much any meal at this point. Recipes and blog post links are another category that you'll see from time to time, especially if it's a UGC photo. A customer might have made a particular meal and I talk about it, but then I link them off to a page on the internet that shows them how to, create a recipe like that. Testimonials and stories. These are where customers are building credibility for my brand. List building posts. Those are like, man, I feel like those are showing up 5 times a week. I find a way to squeeze the produce availability list lead magnet into a post. You heard some examples of me turning things into hybrid posts because I want to make sure that people have a chance to join my email list. That's almost the gateway into my brand. And for me, social media, its primary purpose is to grow my email list. So I want to show them what I sell, make them aware of kind of my first offer, show the behind the scenes life, kind of pull them in that way. And then I'm like, hey, if you want to learn more, get on my list. And then I take really good care of them. And then finally, my other category is just online store posts. So this is where I'm making sure to highlight how easy it is to shop in our online store at least once a week. Usually I'll embed it right into other categories. And so it's just this subtle repetition that trains customers. Here's where you start. Here's where you start. And don't forget, you have to tell people how to buy. That's another element of this online store post piece. It's also kind of a frequently asked question that needs to be in your rotation. So many farmers talk to me about how I can't get customers to take action. I've got this awesome, sales page, or I have all these awesome things in my store and nobody's buying. And when I go and take a look at the funnel, sometimes the problem is that the step right before the store where the person finds out about it, there's no explanation for how to actually place an order. Or when they come to the store, it's just a bunch of products on the page, but there's nothing up in that, that section heading area where you can add text that explains how to buy and where the pickup sites are, and those basic information pieces that someone wants to know before they start investing time to put things into their cart. Okay, so those are kind of the overarching categories and themes. If you were going to look at all 30 days, which remember, you can go do that if you get into Farm Marketing School and take this project, the social media planning project, you can actually see 3 months worth of my content because I'm just copying and pasting it in there as I go at the end of every month and just put it in there. And that'll continue to populate here for the foreseeable future. You would be able to go in there and see that, wow, she really is kind of using the same types of things over and over again. I'll actually start with that particular document as a guide when I'm sitting down to write the next week's worth of content, and it goes really fast. Okay, so my weekly planning workflow, I know I've talked about this before in another podcast, but I'm just going to add it here because it makes sense to do it again in case you haven't heard that podcast. But here's how it works. It's about 30 minutes for me to do this whole thing. I usually do it on a Sunday or a Monday. That's just the day that I've chosen to do it. At first, when I began to do this, I did it once a month. And now I'm kind of to a once every 10 days, once every week kind of a schedule. So I will look back at the categories that I used from the week before, and I'll decide what I want to repeat or rotate out. I also have a template that I built in my social media planning process that has all of the different templates. So I'm also looking at the other different categories of content that may show up maybe like once a month instead of once every week. So I'm just glancing at that, and I'm using that just to decide what are the things that I want to make sure I bring up this week. I'm checking my photo roll for the fresh images that came out this week, because sometimes that'll inspire me and remind me, frankly, of what has happened and what potentially I could talk about. And I remember doing that this past week and seeing a picture of this gorgeous okra plant. And I was like, oh yeah, that's right, okra. Okra is like coming on right now. And it's also a very gut healthy vegetable for me that I use a lot. And so I'm like, I could do something with okra this week and make that, a teaching point. And that was just kind of on the table as an idea. I'm reviewing what's in season. I'm also looking at what are my offers going to be this week. Is there a particular vegetable that's coming in that is brand new, people haven't seen for an entire year, and I want to highlight it and get people excited about it. I'm looking at my Google Photos Drive using keywords, like I might type in basil or peach or sheep pan meals or something like that, and just kind of see what comes up, right? I'm also looking at my CSA private Facebook group, and often I'll use that more like a search engine. So first I'll just kind of scan through the pictures that have been shared in the last 7 days, and I'll see if there's anything that a customer shared that is either really gorgeous, really classic, traditional, standard, like something that would a lot of people in the general wide audience would resonate with. Like the roasted tomatoes is a great example. That's easily accessible, easy to do. And I think a lot of people would be like, oh yeah, easy lift, I can do that. But I'm also looking for cool innovations. So there was this one woman a few weeks ago who had made some kind of garlic scape mustard. And my group thought it was amazing, and it sparked a lot of copycat recipes. Many people were trying it. And so I downloaded that picture and I talked about that idea and how it was catching a lot of energy in our Facebook group, and I wanted to share it with everyone. So that was like just an innovative idea for something to do with garlic scapes, and that became so good that it rose to the top, and it went on to my my public facing business page as well. So I like to just scroll the past week and just see if any of those kinds of ideas rise to the surface. But sometimes I'm looking for a specific thing. Like I know I want to have user-generated content this week, a picture of, I don't know, some kind of herby bread, because I'm going to feature herbs, and maybe I know I've got some focaccias out there. So I just type in the word focaccia bread and see what comes up. Or maybe it's pizza, because I want to have a really cool picture of pizza, because I want to talk about pizza as an exit strategy. And then, I'll see like 25 really cool photos from the past, well, more than that, but from the past 5-6 years that we've had this group, and they'll populate. And then I can just scroll through those. I can download one and I can use them. So that is a really fantastic resource I personally have, because it's basically functioning as a search engine. I can find any picture I want, any meal I want, because I have such great chefs in our group, and use that as an idea as well. So those are some of the things I'm kind of doing on the front end to help me find the picture. I don't often use video in my social media for this part. I'm usually doing pictures. So I just wanted to also put that out there. And then I go into ChatGPT, and I will sometimes share the picture. Like I'll upload it into the platform and say, here's the picture I want to share. And I want to, using the template that we've established in this chat here, in this thread, I want to create a frequently asked question post that answers the question XYZ. And here's the one we used last week. Can you make it very similar? And then ChatGPT recreates it, and then I copy and paste that into my Google Doc, and then ultimately it gets scheduled into the Meta app as well. So because I'm doing a lot of repetitive work and copying and pasting, this process really is like 30 to 45 minutes each week. I mean, I only need to have, in my mind, my goal is to get 5 posts a week, but I usually go overboard, and I'm doing, one a day. So I'm usually doing 7, and it's just really fast because I'm just taking stuff from the week before and recycling it. So I just want to encourage you, you don't have to reinvent the wheel every week. You just rinse and repeat the workflow, and it can go pretty quickly. The hardest part, it's not even hard, the longest part is finding the graphics that I want to use. That process isn't hard. I mean, it's easy to type it into the Facebook search engine and find the picture in the group, but the process of actually typing it in, downloading it, and then uploading it, right? Like that all takes time. That's sort of the tedious part, I guess, but it's really not that hard. So, why does this whole system work so well? I think because it's first of all, it's creating consistency. Customers start to see that I'm reliable, I'm showing up on a regular basis in the social media feed. It's building trust, it's building authority with brand new customers. My own customers who follow me see some of their own stuff being posted, so it creates pride and ownership of the work they're doing in our group. And it spurs other people in our community to want to share their content because they're hoping maybe it'll get posted. I mean, I have seen that and noticed that. It also reduces buyer confusion and objections. When you've got these regular posts in there that explain how to buy or answer those common frequently asked questions, you're just going to wipe out objections for people. You're going to have a system for doing that. And I think it's also helpful because it's saving me from, stress, that blank screen panic when you sit down and you're like, I really should be doing this, but as I'm trying to do it, I have no idea what to say or I feel overwhelmed. Having this process, like, what? Worst case scenario, I can just come sit down and copy and paste what I did last week, maybe switch out the vegetable picture of the week, and that's it, and that'll be good enough. Like that whole concept of good enough marketing, right, is definitely something I want you to lean into here when it comes to social media. You do not have to go out and hire somebody to make you these amazing looking videos that, have all kinds of B-roll and captions on them and look professionally made. Like you can just do simple photos like this and captions that are repetitive that either you've written or you've asked ChatGPT to help you write them. You can do this. It's allowed. And I just challenge you to give it a shot for a couple of weeks and see how much time it saves you and how much traction it gives you with your marketing goals. Well, if this episode sparked some ideas, remember, you can get my actual post copy from June, July, and August inside the social media planning project in Farm Marketing School. I've uploaded all of it word for word. You can literally copy, paste, and adapt. Plus, I will teach you the system to build your own repeatable plan so you don't have to scramble for ideas or feel that stress of, oh my gosh, I got to post something today, and then you forget and you fall into the black hole and you don't post for like 9 days. And yeah, that's not good. If you're trying to do social media marketing, you need to be consistent. So let's be strategic and thoughtful and intentional about what we're doing and just build a quick, simple system. You only got to really post like 3 to 5 times a week. Just decide what those things are going to be and then copy and paste them, rinse and repeat them. It's super easy. So you can join me at mydigitalfarmer.com/FMS to gain access to that. Maybe you're listening to this later on in the season when you're not so hectic doing the work of farming and you want to come in on the winter time. That would be awesome. Whenever you want to join my community, I would love to meet you and invest in you and mentor you. All right, well, that's all I got for today. You can get today's show notes at mydigitalfarmer.com/329. And if you liked this episode, please go leave me a rating or a review on Apple Podcasts or tell someone you know who you think would like this show about the podcast. Send them a link, text it to them, and maybe they'll also become a big fan and you can talk stuff out with them. Remember, you can also get onto my email list. I have some free stuff to send your way to make your marketing even stronger. You guys, it's really, really good. So go to mydigitalfarmer.com/subscribe, and that is all free. And don't forget, I'm also on Instagram at mydigitalfarmer with a daily tip. I would love to connect with you there. Thank you so much for joining me today, you guys. Have an amazing week. And remember, I believe in you. Bye-bye.